So as I mentioned previously, Selenium is one of the popular functional test tool. It is uh, widely used by all the companies, but still some companies are deviating from different software tools. But still, Selenium is a leader in the market. So nowadays the competition has come for Selenium, that is Cypress and uh, Playwright. So these are the tools very popular, and so they are widely used nowadays. So as I mentioned already, initially I have given what is Selenium IDE, Selenium Grid, and Selenium WebDriver. But let me give you one more time. So what is Selenium WebDriver? So Selenium WebDriver is a latest functional test tool. It automates the web browsers. That means web applications. So basically it has the libraries that allows the developers to automate your web applications using browser support, native browser support. That means in the browser itself, all the methods or logic will be written. Just you will call that method and it will interact with the web application. So that is what this web driver means. And so it provides a common interface for interacting with the web browsers, and it allows web developers to write scripts in any programming language that supports by Selenium. So Selenium supports multiple programming languages: Java, C Sharp, Ruby, Python, JavaScript. So these are the languages you can write your automation test script. Not necessary you have to learn all of them. If you know one programming language, easy to learn other programming language. That's not a very complex. Even in the interviews, if somebody tell I want Python, it's not complex to learn Python. So if you know Java, it's easy. Even that syntax is very easy than Java. Java is a bit complex, but that is very easy. Python. And so you can validate whatever the test scripts you have written on the different browsers also. Multiple browser support also it is available. So that's all about Selenium WebDriver means. So what is the reason why you need to use Selenium is Selenium is an open source tool. Open source means you don't need to pay anything. You can freely use it. So that's why many companies will prefer this Selenium tool. And also Selenium supports cross-platform compatibility. Cross-platform means you can run your automation test scripts on different operating systems like Mac, Linux, and Windows operating systems. And also you can run using different browsers also. It supports Chrome, Firefox, Edge, Safari, Opera, all these browsers it supports. And also Selenium supports headless browser concept. Headless browser means, so now you are able to see browser, right? Browser is open. So in Linux machines, or when you are running on the Jenkins pipeline, it's not good to open a browser. So we should not open the browser. Without opening the browser, internally it will run on the specified browser. That is called headless browser, we call that. So that headless browser testing you can do with the Selenium easily. So multiple language support also available with the Selenium. Already mentioned that, right? We know. So big community support by Google. If you have any issues with the tool, you can report the bugs and they will resolve those bugs. So that is this language support also. Your community support is available here. And also you can integrate with the different tools. So Selenium can be integrated with different Selenium grid, you can use, and also you can integrate with the different frameworks, or you can integrate with the CI/CD tools like Jenkins tool, and APM test cases also you can run in Selenium. Basically, APM is a mobile automation tool which has the WebDriver logic. So similar, but that runs on the mobiles. APM is for mobile automation testing, both Android and iOS devices. You can run your automation test cases using APM tool. And so one more also there for mobile testing, Espresso, that is another famous tool. So these are the different tools you can use for mobile automation and also functional browser testing purpose. And also Selenium supports multiple built-in frameworks. Framework wise, you have, for example, programming language is Java. You can use a JUnit and TestNG frameworks. If you're using a Python programming language, you have a unit testing framework like PyTest. If you're using a C#, you have a NUnit. If you're using a JavaScript, you have a Mocha framework. So if you're using a Ruby, you have a test unit framework. So like this, based on the language wise, you have a unit testing framework support inbuilt in Selenium code. You don't need to separately install anything. So that's the beauty of this Selenium tool. And there are drawbacks also. So there are drawbacks also. The drawbacks are like, it won't support Windows application testing. It supports only browser-based application testing. That means web application testing. And also you cannot automate the captchas. Captchas, I don't know how many of you heard that. The captchas, inside you have an image inside you have a text. That image, you need to type it, right? That you cannot do with Selenium directly.
I mean, while logging in, usually the banking application asks to capture the captchas.
Yeah, right. Those you cannot do.
We cannot capture, right? Oh, okay.
Cannot do directly. You don't have a provision here, but we can do with some language support. You can do that. So like Java, you can do with the Java. Some DLLs you have to use, and you can do that. And another thing is you cannot compare the images directly. You don't have, but you can do with Java language. You can do that. And another thing is so reporting is a very important for us, right? Once you run the test cases, how many test cases are passed and failed. So you need to get it, right? Otherwise, how do you know how many test cases are passed, failed? The direct report capability you don't have in Selenium. You need to depend on third-party tools like TestNG or extent reports. You need to depend on them. That's the another drawback in the Selenium. So this is all about drawbacks and advantages of the Selenium. And so there are previously Selenium remote control, right? Selenium remote control and now WebDriver. So WebDriver is very faster because of its a simpler architecture, and RC is very slow because of its complicated architecture. And WebDriver directly talks to the browser. Remote control needs help of a server to talk with the browser. So WebDriver API is more concise, and RC APIs are duplicate ones. You see, you have for clicking, you have a click and way to click at to click. So many commands are there. You'll get confused which command when to use. But in Selenium WebDriver, you don't have that problem. Just click means only click one. So there is no other methods. So that's the beauty of this WebDriver API, and also APIs are very easy to remember WebDriver APIs. So this point, WebDriver, now this is deprecated in the latest version. RC doesn't support so these things. HTML unit browser is no more nowadays. That was the HTML. This HTML unit browser is a headless browser. So you can run without any browser using HTML unit browser. So that Selenium doesn't support, but WebDriver was supporting. Now they deprecated that class itself completely. So WebDriver supports previously mobile application testing like Android and iPhone. I told you the APM, right? APM is separated from WebDriver. So basically WebDriver logic only used in the APM also. RC doesn't support that.
So APM is also a similar tool like WebDriver.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
The WebDriver so protocol only used there in the APM tool also. So, but it is now they separated. Previously, you have a Selenium, something Android driver, iOS driver. These classes were there when WebDriver first started time. Then
Okay.
later they separated. They don't want to mix all of them. They separated. Okay, let's separate it to APM tool, and APM is but still using WebDriver logic code.
Okay, APM is for Android
Android
mobile.
and iOS both.
Both. Okay, okay.
Both you can do that.
Mm.
So that's the one advantage. And so WebDriver supports multiple programming languages. RC also supports. WebDriver supports multiple browsers, but RC doesn't support Edge browser. Edge browser was not there at that time. So, but WebDriver supports all latest browsers. So WebDriver supports multiple operating systems. RC also supports. So WebDriver supports multiple built-in frameworks. RC also supports them. So these are the some of the differences, but that nobody asks now because RC is gone. Most 10 to 14 years almost they deprecated that. So nobody using that. The limitations I already told. WebDriver has no built-in command automatically generate the test reports, and report is very bad in the WebDriver. So bitmap comparison is not possible in Selenium. CAPTCHA is not possible to automate, and barcode reading is difficult in Selenium. So these are all the some of the limitations of Selenium. But this architecture, I just wanted, this is the Selenium 3 architecture. So these are the 4 components will be there in Selenium 3. One is client libraries, JSON wire protocol, browser drivers, real browsers. These are the 4 components are there in the Selenium WebDriver architecture. So client libraries are used to write logic for the WebDriver methods. So each language wise, the methods are developed, and that methods when you send, so JSON wire protocol will basically JSON is a lightweight communicator between the client and server. So this is the client and this is the server, right? So in between that, this is the basically a communicator, and it will know when you are sending a command, like you will send with a click, right? That entire thing will be converted by JSON wire protocol, and that will send the JSON format to the server. Basically, it is again API testing. So all WebDriver methods are APIs, open public APIs. These are open source APIs. So every method of WebDriver is a open source APIs. So those methods, and when you write a code, that will be converted into JSON format and give it to your server. Then this server inside, all the methods are there automatically that will interact with the application, and then the output will send back. The response will send back to the client. So this is the process in the Selenium 3. But in Selenium 4, what they did is, because again, this is taking some time here, right? What they did is, they removed this JSON wire protocol directly. Instead of again hitting here and converting all this, they removed, so that it directly going to a server. And so the browser has a W3C protocol, World Wide Web Consortium concept they implemented in the browser itself. So the reason for that is, so it will save the request. In the same request is coming, it won't go again back. It won't take much time. So that's the W3C concept means. So that concept they implemented in the Selenium WebDriver 4 version. Now Selenium WebDriver 4.19.1, I think, latest version. So we can go and see this. So selenium.dev is the official website. What is the official website? Selenium.dev. You can go and see here versions. See 4.19.1, March 29th they released. So 4.19.1, that's the latest version. So that version you can use. That, so these are, I told you, right, how it is, doing that. See, when you write a code like this, driver equal to new Chrome driver, driver.get, the URL you are giving, automatically this will be converted into this format. That was the Selenium 3, but Selenium 4, it is not like that. See, WebDriver became a W3C standardization. What is meant by that? So Selenium WebDriver is now W3C standardization. This WebDriver provides a friendly and a flexible API for browser automation. So basically what it will do is, this encourages compatibility across various software implementations of WebDriver. Like, you have a different languages you're using to implement the WebDriver methods, right? That is, compatibility is easy when you use W3C concept. Because W3C is already implemented in the browsers. So basically it reduces the complexities across the different browsers. And also it makes more stable framework. That's why they implemented this W3C concept in the WebDriver. So that's the first feature of Selenium 4. So from JSON wire protocol to World Wide Web Consortium concept implemented in Selenium 4. That's the difference you have to tell. So what are the difference between Selenium 3 and Selenium 4? They will ask. So this is the one of the change. And the second one, Selenium grid enhanced with the updates. So basically Selenium 3 grid was just a hub and node concept. So there was a one hub. Hub is a admin server and nodes are the slave servers. So one hub will connect with multiple nodes or multiple servers. So you have to start in the Selenium 3, both hub separately you have to start, every node separately you have to start. That was the problem in the Selenium 3 grid. But in Selenium 4 grid, what they did is, so if you all will be packed in one single jar file, and if you start one, your node and hub all will be started in Selenium 4 grid. So that was the big change they made in the Selenium 4. Please remember all this. This is one of the famous interview question. What is the difference between Selenium 3 and Selenium 4? Or Selenium 4 changes? What are the new features of Selenium 4? They will ask. So you should be able to answer all these questions. And also, so Selenium Grid also supports IPv6 addresses. So IPv6, IPv4, right? Those IP addresses the Selenium Grid supports. And also you have a lot of new components added in the Selenium Grid for more scalability and traceability purpose. They added a router, session map, distributor, node, all these extra components added inside the Selenium grid. Before, only hub and node was there. So let me draw that. So Selenium 3, you have only hub and node previously. This is the hub and different machines. So these are the node 1, node 2 like that. This is the hub. And this is the node 1. And this is a node 2. And this is a node 3. And this is a node 4. So these things will be connected. So every node will be connected to that. Automatically it will be connected to this hub. So this all these nodes are managed by this hub only. This is the Selenium 3 grid. What is this? Selenium 3 grid concept. So whereas Selenium 4 concept is, so they added all this. So you have a router, you have a session map, you have a distributed node. So all these are packed in a single jar only. Before, this jar is different, this is different, this is different. Node jar is different, hub jar is different. But Selenium 4, everything packed in one jar, and they added extra concepts like supporting IPv6 addresses, supporting multiple components. So that's the extra thing. And also Selenium grid you can run on the using Docker also. So even you can, it supports a DevOps process. It supports AWS, Azure, and other cloud cloud services also it supports. That's a Selenium Grid 4 advantage. Okay, so that's the difference. And the next one, Selenium 4 IDE. So IDE means you already know, right? It's a record and playback tool. So in the Selenium IDE 4, they made a lot of changes, and they given support for Firefox, Chrome, and Edge browser also. You can add a plugin, even Edge browser also. So, and also another thing is, the latest update has a user interface. So you can write even loops also in Selenium IDE tool. Before it was not there. Now you can write a if condition while loop also you can write inside the Selenium IDE tool. That concept they added in the Selenium 4 IDE. And another one, relative locators for automation test scripts. So till now, you know, locators only ID, name, class name, CSS selector, XPath, tag name, link text, partial link text, right? They provided extra locators. Those are friendly locators. We call them relative locators. So you can identify a web element near to or left of, right of, above or below of specified element. One specified element above, below, left to, right to, near to that, all those other elements you can identify based on one specific element. Specific element beside elements you can identify with this relative locators concept. That's another good feature they added in the Selenium. Another major change is Chrome debugging protocols. So if you if you use this is the debugger, Chrome debug tools. So this elements, so console, network tab, very important. See network tab, you can see 204, 204, and all this 200 also you will get. So this network calls, you can see the network calls. So this is the one. See, request URL, request method, status code. This all these URLs, and also you can work with this network tab, and performance, memory, application. So this memory and application, there is a local storage and a session storage, right? These values also you can get. So with this Chrome debugging protocols concept, that's one of the famous thing. And also you can capture and monitor the network traffic and performance also. So that's a one good thing here. You can mark geolocations where you can do with no, with the Selenium, your localization testing and internationalization testing. And so change the device mode and exercise the responsiveness of the application. You can do basically there is a concept here. You can change this browser mode to mobile format. Mobile view mode you can change, and you can do that. That you can achieve with the Selenium itself. So all these debugging protocols included in the Selenium 4 only. Before it was not there. That's the one great feature added by Selenium. So multiple windows and tabs management. For example, you have multiple tabs right here. So this multiple tab switching is easy in Selenium 4. Before it was complex. Now it's very easy, and you can use window type dot window. It will go to new window. Window type dot tab. It will go to tab, new tab. So that's the easy, to handle the different windows and tabs in Selenium 4. And we have a telemetry and GraphQL new concept included in the Selenium grid to track the results. Basically, you have an option here. So telemetry has been added into the Selenium grid. This feature brings more observability into grid. So basically, you can observe your results, what is happening inside the grid when you are running a test cases. So when something goes wrong, and you will get a proper logs in the Selenium grid with this telemetry concept. There is one more GraphQL endpoints. You can query the directly you can query with the GraphQL concept from Selenium grid itself. So that concept before it was not there, they added a newly. So improved documentation. Basically, previously there is a lot of deprecated code was there, and documentation. So they didn't care in the till Selenium 3. So Selenium 4, they cleaned up everything. So they kept nicely all the deprecated classes in one folder, and they organized it properly. So that's the improvement they did in Selenium 4. So what is deprecated in Selenium 4 is desired capabilities class was there previously. Now they stopped that class and they deprecated that class. Basically, why you will use these desired capabilities is in each browser, you can set your browser settings with this desired capabilities class. Instead of that class, what they did is they created a class, options class for each browser. Like a Firefox browser, there is a Firefox options class. For Chrome options class. Internet Explorer options class. Edge browser, Edge options class. Safari options class. They added the browser wise class. That class you can create object, and with that object reference, you can call all the methods of this class to set the browser settings for any browser. That's the advantage with this browser options class for setting the browser settings. And they made changes to the actions class. So before, click web element has replaced with the move to element dot click. So previously we have a move to element dot click is replaced with a just click web element now in Selenium 4. You don't need to write move to element dot click. So it's a lengthy, right? What they did, just write a click. Automatically it will move the cursor to this element. Click and hold So before we were writing like this, they replaced that with a simple one method only. Context click. So before you need to move to element and then context click. Now they made it simple. So this kind of changes they made to the actions class. So finds by is deprecated. So basically finds by interface were a part of this internal package. This finds by interface was having a find elements methods. So which are implemented in the remote WebDriver class. So now these two are deprecated now, finds by interface. And they made changes to fluent weight class. Fluent weight class methods were there. So in this class, there are a lot of methods with the timeout to polling every. These two methods, before it was having a two parameters. Now they made as a one parameter. So polling every method will only accepts one parameter in Selenium 4. That is a duration class. And the static methods, all these are static methods. So duration dot seconds, duration dot milliseconds, duration dot nanoseconds, duration dot hours, duration dot days. You can mention as an argument in this method parenthesis. With the timeout. So with the timeout method also accepts only one parameter, that is duration. So previously there was two parameters in Selenium 3. In Selenium 4, they made a change to this fluent weight class methods, which accepts only one parameter for polling every method, and so with the timeout method. So these are the Selenium 4 changes. Okay, so that's it. I'm just closing here.